Should be.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Show
Not
it
seeing
on
it
mine.
anyway.
Yeah, I am.
Ah, there we go.
Anyway, continue, sir.
I lost track where I was at.
Burning up tires, going all the way to the back.
Right. I ran in the pack with a few people tonight, and I mean, I ran down and passed Carl in traffic, so I mean that in itself should be an accomplishment. But I think the draft will keep the field pretty tight and tight-knit together and stuff. It's just going to be who takes care of their stuff the most, who makes the right strategy calls, and who stays out of trouble.
Yeah, definitely going to be one of the keys that you really have to look out for is, keeping those tires where they need to be. Drafts was going to play a big part in it. But, Mark, we're going to go ahead and let you get out of here, get back in the zone for the race here tonight, and hopefully we'll be getting ready to talk to you at the end of tonight.
I hope so, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I was nervous in the 87s when I won the championship. It's all good, man. Go get that second ring.
Ah, man, I'll try.
All right, that's going to be your wild card, Mark Parkhurst. We're going to go ahead and move on to another driver here. Get a quick little interview from this number 4 machine of Thaddeus Marshall. He's now joined in the booth. Thad is still in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, kind of want to keep this short and sweet just because practice is about over with for all of you gentlemen and drivers out there. But let's talk to Mark. He's saying draft, pit stops are all going to be key. What's going to be your key to success here tonight to claim your very first Core Premier Series championship?
Just stay out of trouble and don't make any mistakes. And I told Chris and a couple other boys, you may see a little bit different side of me tonight than in past races.
Well, I guess we'll be able to see that here momentarily, but it's been a great season for you so far. You came in swinging. You showed your dominance at certain tracks, road courses, dirt road, anything that Thad Marshall ran this season. He was one of those threats, but it all caps off here tonight at Iowa. Hopefully we can see you get up there and challenge for the lead or even challenge for your very first Premier Series championship, and we bode you very well and good luck.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, that's going to be one of the other drivers here for the championship. The next one up is going to be the number 18 of Carl Head. We're going to bring him down here before racing gets started. Carl, this is Dylan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
All right, tonight's the night. This number 18 drives for number 5. And then possibly into the retirement home and let, the young Cole Trickle back out there on the racetrack. But either way, just had to throw that in there. Anyways, long, hard-fought season all year long for you and everybody out here that has supported Core Racing throughout the whole entire series across the board. But tonight, it all comes down tour mods, draft, Iowa, a little bit slip and slidey. What is going to be the key for success for you here tonight?
I think it's still going to be patience, but patience is going to be really tough. Obviously, I got 4 other drivers out here that I got to beat, and I'm going to be starting behind all of them. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be picking the right opportunities, maybe going off schedule on pit stops. Never know how yellows come out. Hopefully, not involved in those yellows. But it's going to be tough. I mean, either way, just thanks to everybody that made this season possible and all the other Premier seasons up to this point. I got the old school paint scheme on here that Josh Billiter threw up there for me when we ran this around my birthday before. I got the 2 kids on there. So shout out to my kids. Shout out to my wife who's up in bed after hurting herself today. So hopefully she's relaxing and can watch the other race here. Shout out to Barry. I know he's going to be out there rooting for me, but yeah, I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna have fun. Another shout out to John Crane. Hopefully he's still recovering, still doing okay out there, and I don't mind him not being out there in the track. We always find each other on championship night. So that's one less bullet I got to dodge, I guess. But yeah, I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna have fun. Hopefully this is the year that I can finally crack through and get number 5. But either way, it's been a pretty good season, and a lot of new faces out there getting in the circle. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, you say you wanted to hurry up, get that drive for number 5, but either way, win or lose, you're still having fun. That's all that matters. You're hanging out with the boys. Your boys won tonight. See if you can back them up here tonight, even though it had to be in overtime. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably sweat more during that game than I'll sweat during this race. No, but that's been the season so far.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's been an up and down season all along. A couple of wrecks here and there, but nonetheless, you're still here. You're at where it matters the most, so that's all that matters. Everybody's still here. Everybody's still having fun, hanging out with everybody, and I can't wait to see what season 11 has in store for us all throughout next year. So before we let you get on out of here, Carl, I'll give you one more time to give anybody else a shout out that you may have missed, and it gets you ready for the race day.
Yeah, just again, thanks to everybody that makes this possible. Thanks to all the fans out there. Thanks to you putting the broadcast on. Good luck to the other 4 competitors out there. I mean, it's the only other competitor with championship experience here is the defending champ. So I'm gonna have to beat him first before I beat anybody else. But it's gonna be fun out there tonight. Yeah, hopefully we come back next year for season 11 looking for number 6, but again, spots are still open if you want to get your numbers, your raffle numbers for season 11 and get to choose a car or track combo. That is going to be closed as of November 30th.
Well, there you have it. Get those raffle numbers on in there. I'm going to buy a few spots so that way I can get some of the combos that I like going into the Core Premier Series season number 11. But, Carl, we're going to go ahead and let you get on out of here. Get yourself prepped, ready for this long, grueling race, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of it.
Sounds good.
All right, that's going to be a couple of our championship contenders. We don't have enough time to get David Tilford in the broadcast booth along with Joe Sullivan, but nonetheless, still a fun time to go. It's been one hell of a season so far, and it all ends up here tonight at Iowa in the Tour Mods. You heard it from Mark Parkhurst. You burn off the tires a little bit too early, you're going to fall all the way to the back, but if you take care of them, you can be there. Thad Marshall, on the other hand, says he's got a different momentum change going in tonight's race. It's not where you are, where you start. It's about where you finish in tonight. That is going to be absolutely key for a lot of these drivers. Gridding up as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the race grid here tonight. Only 11 drivers making the start of tonight. It's going to be Dan Phelps on the front row with James Molyneux starting P number 2. Brandon Mettler in P number 3 with Matt Crockett on his outside in P number 4. Christopher Hamilton in 5th. Kevin Foster in 6th. Mark Parkhurst in 7th. Joe Sullivan in 8th. Dave Tilford in 9th. Thaddeus Marshall is going to round out your top 10. And a starting shotgun on the field is going to be the number 11, or in 11th. Is going to be the number 18 of Carl Handwerk. Drivers getting strapped on in, getting ready to do a battle for 120 laps here tonight for the Core Premier Series Championship. If anybody out there has anybody that they're rooting for or wants to see any more of them, make sure you guys put it in the broadcast chat. I can try to pull them up as much as I possibly can and get you guys what you want to see. A lot of beautiful tour mods out here. Joe Sullivan repping the Christmas scheme. Like to see that number 76 do good here tonight. First shot at fighting for a championship. So, top 5 in the championship are going to be Mark Parkhurst here in the number 23, the number 76 of Joe Sullivan, Dave Tilford in the number 12, Thaddeus Marshall in the number 4, and rounding out your 5 championship drivers are going to be Carl Hadwick in that number 18. Going to go ahead and ride on the board with the nose camera of that number 18, and you see there the Tour Mods. Absolutely no fenders on these cars, so if you guys lock wheels, that is going to be one thing that you don't want to do, as these drivers getting ready to go under green for 120 laps. It could go one way or it could go another. We're going to find out here as they're going to take one more pace lap and get Kevin Foster out here, as maybe he can't start until the green flag goes. He might have missed the start of the race, but nonetheless, still going to be a great show here tonight, as we have a lot of people tuning in. Everybody's saying, let's go, Carl. Let's go, Mark Parkhurst. As Mark Parkhurst currently sitting up here in P number 6, where he is stationed at in that Bass Pro Shops Bass Tracker Cabela's number 23. Looking pretty slick out there, right behind the number 64 of Christopher Hamilton. Pace car getting ready to dive off into pit lane. Barney the flagman's got the green flag in his hand. He's awake. He's alive. It's Sunday night Core Premier Series racing here at Iowa. 120 laps is the distance. We are underway. No, we're not. We're doing one more pace lap, as I believe they're getting everybody into position, or maybe waiting for Kevin Foster. Not sure what happened to... There he is. Kevin Foster is now coming out. They're going to do one pace lap. Get Kevin Foster back in line where he needs to be. And we'll be back to racing here. And I believe Carl Hadwick will have the button, as he will tell people when they can go. As Kevin Foster is going to start on the outside of P number 6. But it's going to be Dan Phelps, James Molino leading these drivers down into pit lane. Cold tires are going to be the issue here on the initial start. We are green underway for 120 laps. Big checkup towards the back. Christopher Hamilton going down to the inside. 3 wide going into turn number 1 already. As we're looking there, Kevin Foster all the way to the back he goes, fanning out. James Molino moving his way back to the back as Christopher Hamilton says, you know what, I'm going to the front. And here comes Mark Parkhurst down to the inside. Dan Phelps covering it off, 3 wide. James Molino, Carl Hadwick 4 wide now, looking, almost. Carl Hadwick threading the needle. Round the outside of Dan Phelps, move Carl Hadwick all the way up to P number 4. As looking at him right now, top 2 sitting right there. But you got David Tilford up there in P number 3. Carl Hadwick getting a little bit tight coming off corner exit. As David Tilford leading the championship battle here tonight with Christopher Hamilton right behind him. David Tilford looking to capitalize and grab his first championship here tonight at Iowa. Mark Parkhurst, Carl Hadwick doing a little bit of battle. Carl almost getting into the wall. James Molino almost tapping the wall as well. And here comes Matt Crockett, the Rocket, down to the inside. Gonna over under the number 23. Put the 23 down on the inside, or put the 23 up on the outside, as Thaddeus Marshall has went all the way to the back, and that's a different strategy that he was talking about. So there it is. He said he's going to go all the way to the back. Joe Sullivan riding a P at number 8, sitting currently 4th in the championship. It's not about it's not about points anymore. It's about highest finisher, and right now the highest finisher 6 laps in is going to be David Tilford, as he is leading to the point. Brandon Metler, thorn in his side, not going to let him get that lap led. 2 wide going into 1. But then right behind them, you got Christopher Hamilton trying to do what he can. Brandon Metler up into the outside wall. Almost came down and tagged the number 12, able to keep it off of him. And now you got Mark Parkhurst following along with Carl Handwerk. Going to go ahead and give you another onboard shot of the nose camera of that number 23. You see it there. He's cutting it down, leaving it nice and open. And I don't think, yeah, they're lifting a little bit. I don't believe any braking going on. Mark Parkhurst going to swing it out to the outside, gets a little bit of a run, dives it down to the inside. Carl Handwerk, now he's on the outside. Make the pass for the number 23. Can he get the power down? Can he use that inside run to his advantage? No, here comes Carl Handwerk. Rounding back the outside, can't get clear as of yet. But everybody is pretty much single file except for these two doing a nice little battle here. Mark Parkhurst letting Carl go on by. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there by the number 23, getting on that apron. And it is go time as David Tilford leading a lap here this time by. Carl Handwerk trying to work his way around Christopher Hamilton this time now, picking them off one by one. Down to turn number 1 and 2. There they go. Single file all the way through the pack. Down into turn number 1 and 2. You see him there. Everybody running somewhat different lines. Don't want to be right up on the person right behind you just because of how arrow tight you could potentially get. But nonetheless, still going to be there for the ending is all that matters. One fast repair, unlimited tires, as much fuel as you could possibly ever want to put in there. All right, hopefully I got that audio issue fixed. See if the audio from the engines in iRacing come together here tonight as Carl Handwerk putting the pressure on Christopher Hamilton right up on the back bumper. Had to do a little bit more of a checkup than he wanted to there. 16 laps in out of 120. Christopher Hamilton goes all the way up to the top. Doesn't want to mess up these championship drivers. Move Carl up to P number 3. Christopher Hamilton now sits between two championship contenders here as Chris Hamilton goes back up to the outside, giving the inside to Mark Parkhurst. Mark Parkhurst is not able to get the power down and get around the number 64. Now he's going to do so, and that's going to allow Joe Sullivan to make his way up here in a challenge for the championship contender spot. As we're sitting right now, 20 laps in, 100 laps to go for a lot of these drivers. It's been fairly quiet. David Tilford still with the point, but he's got Carl Handwerk and Brandon Mettler trying to make a run. Brandon Mettler goes down to the inside and moves Tilford up the racetrack. David Tilford not going to let go easily. They're going to follow back in single file territory. Thad Marshall is currently sitting P at number 9, working his way back up through the field. He's got to get into that draft to have a shot because pit stops are going to start happening here momentarily. Is Carl Handler, you can see there, Carl Handler giving a little bit of a gap between himself and Brandon Mettler. Brandon Mettler gets together with David Tilford. Big save and opportunity there from the number 12. And that's what I was talking about. You guys lock bumpers. That is what could happen. Beautiful save by the number 12. Able to keep it under control. David Tilford is that man. All the way down the racetrack. Making it work. And still battling for P number 2 here from Mark Parkhurst. Puts Mark Parkhurst down to the inside. A little bit of a door touch there. David Tilford on the outside. Has the momentum. Can he get clear? No. Going to be side by side going down to turn number 3. Go ahead and look at the rear view of Carl Handwerk here. Show you exactly what he's looking at. He's got pretty much everybody in his sight as David Tilford able to get around the number 23. David Tilford trying to get that lead back that he lost due to a little bit of connection between 2 of those drivers, the 15 and the number 12. David Tilford, you can see he's really trying to get that car to get down there. That's another thing that you don't want to do is put the car somewhere where it doesn't want to be at. You put the car where it doesn't want to be at, you're going to get a little bit tight. You're going to burn up a little bit more tire wear than you really want to do. But nonetheless, still a lot of racing left. Don't want to use up your stuff this early. Carl Handwerk still leading this race here, 28 laps in. Still trying to do what he can to make it work. As Christopher Hamilton has the number 76 on his outside. And is doing what he can as Christopher Hamilton lets the championship contender go on by. And while we've been watching this front battle go, the man that didn't have any draft has caught up to the pack yet again. Thaddeus Marshall working his way around the number 94. Gets on the apron just a little bit. You can't do this, huh? Gets a little bit loose. James Molyneux keeping him behind him there momentarily, but is going to... James Molyneux going to try to do what he can to kind of keep Thad back there, but it's so early. I just let every driver go on by. Patience is going to be a virtue, but then again, how much patience do you need? Carl Handwerk showed a zero patience, got himself all the way up to the front. Thaddeus Marshall making the pass for P at number 7. Carl Handwerk back up to the front. So you got 4 championship contenders, 1 through 4, and then Thaddeus Marshall back there in P at number 8. As of right now, I would not get discouraged. Anything can happen. Pit stops on a virtue here tonight. Not sure exactly how many laps these drivers would be able to get, but I I assume it's about 40 to 50, with it being 50% fuel load. That's where you're going to see drivers take 4 tires at all times. Carl Hedwork finally getting a little bit of a gap between the field, but not much. I mean, he's still in the wake zone, as you could call it, as David Tilford fell back to P number 3. Check out on board with that number 12 machine of David Tilford. Gets on the apron just a little bit. That's going to allow Joe Sullivan to get the run on the outside. He's going to fall back another position. Joe Sullivan cracks the top 3 for the first time here tonight. Maybe no. David Tilford going to battle back down on the inside, but it's going to be Joe Sullivan with the run on the out. He's got Christopher Hamilton all over his back bumper. 2 championship contenders and a championship contender that missed it by having to take provisionals. Got a little bit hairy there. David Tilford, a little bit of a bumper tap there. Nerf bar tap, I guess we could say, to the number 64. Able to keep it straight. David Tilford getting a little bit tight down there on that inside. He's going to fall back in line in P number 5. No, he's not. He's going to be like, you know what? I'm still in this fight. I want this. I'm going to do what I can to make sure I get it done. Pit stops already happening here as the number 10 of Matt Crockett went in and out of pit lane. So about 40 laps in Crockett into pit lane. James Molyneux into pit lane this time by. Now it's all going to come down to Carl Hedwork is in the pit lane. David Tilford going to follow suit. Don't lock him up. Don't spin him out. Mark Parker is going to resume taking the lead. Thad Marshall in. The 85 is in. The 8 is in. Pit lane is a cluster as of right now. The top 3 not pitting this time by. Or last time by. Probably going to go in this time. Yes, Mark Parkhurst in. Looks like the 76 is in, the 64 is in. Look at all that time that the 64 has made on Joe Sullivan. Change the camera view here so you can see Joe Sullivan actually lost a position on pit road. Chris Hamilton using all of the brake bias to get into pit lane. We're going to see if these drivers take 4 tires, 2 tires, or if they're just going to do a little bit of a gas and go. As Joe Sullivan in pit lane. We can see both of them there. Both championship contenders. Right sides go up. New tires are on. Jack's going to drop. Do they take lefts? Lefts for the number 70 or 23. Just rights and fuel for the number 76. 76 is going to be out of pit road, but it's going to be David Tilford with the race lead, and Carl Hedwork all over this inside, side by side. Carl Hedwork to the point. Beautiful strategy call, and look at that. The 18 backed it up just a little bit. You can see a little bit of a bigger run from the number 12. 2 championship contenders going at it here tonight. Matt Crockett. He may have pit early, but he made his way up to P number 3 as we have a incident on the track. Going to go ahead and go back here, see what happened. Oh, Thaddeus Marshall getting on to... Oh, big O. big collection here tonight as the 85 getting tagged in Thad Marshall. Doing that, caution is out, and that is what's going to do it. So we're going to go ahead and go back and watch it one more time. We're going to see Thad Marshall going into turn number 3 and 4. He gets on that apron, and that kind of solidifies him getting loose, especially on fresher tires. See there, left side's underneath the apron, gets him a little bit loose, and these cars are kind of snappy, kind of like the Dallara. James Molino, beautiful to get on around him. Overcorrects to the outside wall. He locks it up, just not enough time. Comes right back down. Dan Phelps, nowhere to go. Breaks that right front off. And immediately blown motor for 2 of those drivers. Thaddeus Marshall caught a lucky break there, but now he's got to use that fast repair. It is 45 laps in, and we got our first caution. Everybody electing to stay out, but 5 drivers stayed out. 6 drivers went in. Christopher Hamilton, Joe Sullivan, Kevin Foster, Brady Mettler, Thad Marshall, and Dan Phelps all in the pit lane, currently on their way out. Thaddeus Marshall losing a couple of laps due to that incident there. Not what you want to do here on championship night. But nonetheless, great racing all the way around. 45 laps of a green flag. And now we see our first caution here tonight. Hopefully everybody is enjoying tonight's championship race here tonight. I want to give a big shout out to all the sponsors that come on deck here for the Core Premier Series. W Energy. Use code Core Racing for 10% off. Or Core Dub. Excuse me. Core Dub. All capitalized letters for 10% off of any W products. I want to give a big shout out to Jimmy and Carl for allowing me to step in the booth for CRN. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that has helped make CRN what it is today. Big shout out to Kelly Pointer for coming on board with the sponsorship with Pointer Motorsports and Amsoil. Get anything you need. Message that man on any social media and get you some Amsoil products. If you haven't already, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the broadcast and the channel. It helps us out with the algorithm of YouTube. Want to get us up to our next goal of 800 subscribers. It's been almost 2 years. Almost 2 years since CRN has opened its doors, and has been a blast ever since. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to CRN. Share with your mom, your dad, your grandma, your dad, your sister, your brother, your kids, your dog, your cat, hamster, snake, fish, your dog, anything you got. Make sure you share it around, because this is about to get interesting. 3 of the top 5 are championship drivers. Pace car in pit lane this time by Carl Heidelberg with the go-go button, and he's off and away. Going to get a good jump on the number 12 of David Tilford. Here comes Matt Crockett, the Rocket, down to the inside. He's going to take over P number 2. So Matt Crockett looking to capitalize here at Iowa. Side by side goes the 12 and the 23. 23 down to the inside. Trying to make something work down there. Don't want to get too close to that apron and end up spinning it, as we have another caution out of the racetrack involving another championship contender. Going to go ahead and go back to a quick CRA replay, see what happens here. Going to go ahead and slow it down. Joe Sullivan get a little bit tight, moving up the racetrack. James Molino on his outside. Oh, James Molino comes down into the outside of Joe Sullivan. Oh, right front, heavy damage to that number 76 machine. He might be all right, though. Does a quick little 360 back to the outside wall. Oh, yeah, the right front is broke. He's going to get put up into the wall, so that that number 76 machine not having a good time. Great avoidance by everybody else. You can see right front is broken on that number 94. So we're going to go ahead and go back here. Watch it from the 94's cockpit, or on board here. In full speed, real time. See him coming up off. Instead of going up to the wall, he comes back down. Oh, instant, right into there. See, he broke the right front. Joe Sullivan broke the right front as well, coming to a halt. Gets that car back up to speed, and away they both go. Has that tire just dragging, as he just takes it straight into pit lane. Second caution of the night. So David Tilford is sitting at P number 3 with Matt Crockett, and P number 2, Mark Parker, sitting P number 4. 5th is going to be Chris Hamilton. 6th is going to be Brandon Metler. 7th is going to be Kevin Foster. 8th is going to be Joe Sullivan. 9th, Thaddeus Marshall. 10th will be James Molino, and 11th is going to be Dan Phelps. That's going to be your quick rundown of the field. Carl Hedwork elected to take the inside lane. Actually, no, he's going to take the outside. He did the switcheroonie on me. Okay, I see it. I believe it. So Carl Hedwork elected to take the outside. Wants to get that outside move on rolling. Do you go early? Do you go late? We're going to find out here. One more pace lap. Pace lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. I'm going to get these guys back underway. 2 gears, first and second gear. That's all you need. You're going to hit about 140 mile an hour going down the backstretch. Carl Hedwork, outside lane. Was going to be a great restart by Carl Hedwork yet again. Going to keep the second and third position side by side, but look at that gap close ever so slightly as Parkhurst to the outside of the number 10 of Matt Crockett. Crockett dives it down to the inside. Big launch by the number 10. Almost gets up to the outside of the number 23. Able to get it out of the power, get it down towards the bottom of the racetrack. Is Mark Parker's battling back along the outside. And that's one thing that Carl Hedwork does like to see, is these two battling. But that's going to bring Carl Hedwork right to the back bumper, or the front bumper of Mark Parker's. A little bit of a bump draft going on here at Iowa. Top 3! David Tilford. That could have been really ugly. Parker's had to back out of the throttle. David Tilford cut it down to the inside really quick. He could have hit that front tire on the Nerf bar and could have been a bad call on a lot of those parts. Crockett rolling the outside now. David Tilford and Mark Parkhurst getting together. A little bit of a sorry there. Saying, hey, I'm a championship driver too, bud. 12 and 23 do a little bit of a battle here. Christopher Hamilton, Brandon Mettler, who was almost big contact between the top two. Matt Crockett and Carl Hedwork almost got right hooked, but able to keep it where it needs to be. Joe Sullivan in the pit lane. Not sure what's going on with the number 76 machine, but he's down in the pit lane. Matt Crockett, the odd one out, not battling for the championship, but keeping his name up there in the fight. A lot of battles going on. Don't know where to turn, as David Tilford trying to get the run down to the inside, side by side, the 12 and the 23. Battles all the way through this racetrack, making it absolutely fun. Championship drivers 2 by 2. Thaddeus Marshall making his way up here, sitting behind Brandon Mettler. Parkhurst with a little bit of an advantage over these drivers, but it's all Carl Hedwork out front, making it work for him. While we got the time and we're under this nice, patient green flag run, we're going to go ahead and cut the mics down, turn the volume on up, and give you guys a little bit of "You Love to Hear It." There it is, the sights and sounds of the Tour Mods taking the track at Iowa. You hear just how long they're in the throttle before they end up getting off the throttle and rolling through the corner. Matt Crockett ended up taking a pit stop there while we were under our little commercial break. So look at about 41 to 40 laps to go the distance, so maybe 2 to 3 more laps. Granted, they had 2 back-to-back cautions. Right away, you're going to see these drivers go in to make their pit stops here in 1 to 2 laps. Top 3 so far: Carl Hedberg, Mark Parkhurst, and Christopher Hamilton are your top 3. As they are nose to tail, a little bit of a gap between the 18 and the 23, but the 64 all over the back bumper of Mark Parkhurst. 2 championship drivers going at it. But he got the next 2, 4th and 5th. David Tilford and Thad Marshall coming on back here as Mark Parker's got down to the inside of Carl Hedberg. Just not enough momentum to get that run going. David Tilford into pit lane this time by, along with Kevin Hollywood Foster. You want that drafting partner to come with you. That's where you want to have it. Next time by, we're going to see possibly Carl Hedberg and Mark Parkhurst in. No, Parkhurst in alone this time by. This could potentially be the last pit stop for a lot of these drivers, so they're trying to get as much out that they can get out of this tank so they don't have to worry about pitting one more time. Christopher Hamilton trying to catch up to Carl Hedberg. Had to take a different approach going into pit lane due to Mark Parkhurst going into pit lane. He had to take a little bit of a higher arc so he didn't run over the number 23. Out of turn number 3 and 4. Carl Hedberg in the pit road this time by, and it's going to be Christopher Hamilton out to the point. Mark Parkhurst actually lost, looks like it's going to be 2 laps. Yeah, Mark Parkhurst lost 2 laps, but he can get 2 laps back once the 64 goes into pit lane. And that's going to be this time by. Final pit stops happening for the number 64. Into pit lane, going to see how many tires he takes. The 94 is going to go into this time by as well. Carl Hedberg still in the pit lane. Only 2 drivers on the lead lap, Christopher Hamilton and the number 15, Brandon Mettler. Brandon Mettler going to be out 1 more extra lap. Carl Hedberg still up to P number 4. 2 tires for the number 64. Do the lefts go up? Left sides are up for the number 64. While that's happening, we're going to go ahead and check back in with the number 18. He doesn't have that much of a gap over the number 8, the 4, and the number 12. The number 18 will be your presumed race leader once Brandon Mettler goes into pit lane, who is not looking to go in anytime soon. Up to the outside wall, though, goes the number 15. He's got everybody trapped 1 lap down. Last time the 15 took a pit stop, going to actually bring it on up here for everybody. Last time he pit was on lap number 51. He can go all the way to this time lap number 90. Look at about 41 laps. So he's looking to make it lap number 50 or 92 going in. And he's going to stay out an extra lap. Last time, everybody else pit 86, 86, 83, 77, 87, 84, 49, 86 for a lot of these drivers. To the outside wall yet again for the number 15. And if he has to pit this time by, he had to hurry up and get around James Milano. And he's going to stay out an extra lap. So Brandon Mettler knows a little bit something that we don't know here. As Joe Sullivan is currently P number 2. And there's a big gap between Carl Hadwick and Joe Sullivan. 4 seconds is the gap. Brandon Mettler staying out another extra lap. Brandon Mettler still leading this race. Mark Parkhurst trying to get back up there. He's currently sitting P at number 9. Brandon Mettler in this time. Everybody going to be able to get their laps back. Everybody that is 1 lap down is going to get past the race leader. That's going to end up giving Joe Sullivan the race lead. Joe Sullivan coming on around to pass the number 15 machine. No, the 76 into pit lane this time by, so not sure what's oh yeah, he didn't pit. Now he's going to pit, but it's going to be Carl Hadwick with the race lead here. Going into turn number 1, but it's going to be between Carl Hadwick and Thaddeus Marshall. These two going to be doing battle. Who's going to give here between these two drivers? These two have had some time racing together here, but it's going to be Carl Hadwick to the point. Top 3 are championship drivers. David Tilford finally making his move on around the number 8 machine. Mark Parkhurst is needing a caution to get back in the championship hunt. 24 laps to go here at Iowa. 23 laps away from crowning the season 10 champion. Who's it going to be? Let me know down in the YouTube chat. Let me know who you guys got. Out of the top 5, battling for the championship is going to be Carl Hadwick, Thaddeus Marshall, David Tilford, Joe Sullivan, and Mark Parkhurst. Those are your top 5 battling for the championship. The 10 of Matt Crockett into pit lane. So maybe he knows something that none of these other drivers know. He won't be able to make it. Carl Hadwick currently leading this race and the championship, but he's got a hot number 4 all over his rear bumper. We'll go ahead and look at the gearbox of the number 18. You can see there Thaddeus Marshall gets a great run, pushing him all the way down the front stretch. And the number 4 machine. Thaddeus Marshall, one of the dirt residents here in the Core Racing League, backs up the quarter just a little bit, trying to eye up a run, just not enough power. 1.6 is the gap between second and third. Or first and third, excuse me. These drivers leaving it all out on the line here tonight. Tonight, the season comes to an end, and then I'll be back out of the track next season, so you won't be able to hear me in the broadcast booth unless I, finish top 3 and get lucky enough to get an interview. I'll be down there racing with a lot of these drivers next season. I'll be making my series debut back again from a long hiatus since season number 6. 4 seasons have gone by since I have last raced the Premier Series event. Thaddeus Marshall giving Carl Hadwick the beans, showing him all the pressure all over the rear bumper. And that's one thing that you don't really want to do. You don't want to be all over. And that's exactly what the number 4 is doing. He's all over the back bumper of that number 18 machine. start being all over, moving around a lot of stuff can happen. Somebody could potentially get turned off of a bumper. With the way that these cars are built. 15 laps to go here at Iowa. Down to the inside goes Thaddeus Marshall. Had to hit the brakes there a little bit so he didn't slide up and get into the outside of, or get to the inside of Carl Handwerk. Still a great battle all the way in and through. These two get battling. That's going to allow David and Brandon Mettler to catch back up, as Brandon Mettler able to get around the number 12 machine of David Tilford. Looks like he's a little bit loose coming up off of exit there. Take a look back here with the number 94 of James Molino. Haven't heard or seen a lot about him after that recent accident with the number 76 of Joe Sullivan. Back up to the top, though. Thaddeus Marshall all over the back bumper. He's got the runs. He can take them. He just chooses not to. Doesn't want to show his hand. As of now, a little bit of an offset bumper hit there. Could have ended badly for both of those drivers. And if you're Thad Marshall, you have no fast repair anymore. You kind of want to keep it that way. Keep that car nice and clean. But if anybody's looking for a quick yellow, it's going to be the number 23 of Mark Parkhurst, who has fallen off tremendously. Needs to have a caution in order to get back into the championship hunt. Thaddeus Marshall still looking at the back bumper of that Budski and Tuts. Number 18. Big throwback here. He's got Death by Moose Media on the side of that number 18, I believe. Get a good look at it here. No Death by Moose Media on that. Yeah, no Death by Moose Media on that as at all. But he's got Joker Graphics, Rep Sports, a little bit of a bumper touch there from the number 4 of Thaddeus Marshall. You guys with a little bit of a drone cam, give you guys a different view. As there is the battle there all over the back bumper. Give him a little bit of a tap going into turn number 1 and 2. Oh, big tap there through the exit. Thad saying, come on, vamonos, let's go. We've got company coming up here as the top 2 are doing what they can to have a good battle on their hands. And so far, that's what we're getting. Great run off turn number 2. Going to be right up on the back bumper. Thad Marshall going to try to do what he can to make a move around Carl Handwerk. Just not able to get there. 5 or 6 laps to go here at Iowa. Looking at it now, Thad's going to try to run the outside, do a little bit of a cut down, get a major run, but not able to do so. Looked like Carl Handwerk may have gotten into the wall just a little bit. 5 laps to go here for the championship. Carl Handwerk, bright green mean machine. Holding off Thad Marshall at the time being. How desperate do these drivers want to get? Thad Marshall rolling the outside now. Carl Hedwork's got the inside rolling. Just a beautiful view here, and Brandon Mettler could really play a big factor here if he can get between the number 18 and the 4. Carl Hedwork to the outside, a little bit of a touch. Thad losing his momentum. Good save by the number 4 of Thaddeus Marshall, but lost a lot of time in doing so. Two laps to go here, and Brandon Mettler has worked his way back to the front, currently sitting P number 2. Thaddeus Marshall had to throw the desperation call. White flag this time by. Last lap. Last lap for the Core Series 10 Premier. Off of turn number 1 and 2, Carl Hedwork has the white flag looking at his mirror. Off of 3 and 4, Carl Hedwork is going to drive for 5 here tonight at Iowa. Getting his 5th Core Premier Series championship. Carl Hedwork finally has it come full circle. Finally gets the drive for 5 done. And finally parks it in victory lane when it matters. Carl Hedwork is your 2023 Core Premier Series 10 champion. Gonna come on around here, burn it down for everybody at home watching. Well, maybe. I know these cars got a lot of grip, so you gotta kind of go around the oval, Legends oval here. There you go, Carl. Hey, Carl, just letting you know you're not supposed to hit the wall when you're doing a victory donut or anything like that. But Carl Hedwork going to park it up against the wall and burn it down for old time's sake. He was there when it counted. He stayed up front when he needed to. And he ended up getting the championship here tonight. Carl Hedwork is your unofficial champion for season number 10. There you go. Now you're whipping it around. Go ahead and let Carl Hedwork do his victory donuts. While we do that, go ahead and come up here, grab our finishing results. Carl Hedwork finishes P number 1, Brandon Mettler in 2nd, Thaddeus Marshall in 3rd, David Tilford rounding out your top 4, Kevin Foster in P number 5, Christopher Hamilton in 6th, Mark Parkhurst making his way back up to P number 7, Matt Crockett in 8th, Joe Sullivan in 9th, Dan Phelps in 10th, and rounding out your 11 car field is going to be the number 94 of James Molyneux. All those three getting together and doing a couple of donuts. I'm going to bring this back a while here since we had a nice green flag run. Slow it on down. Excuse me. Empty that on out. Grab our 3rd place finisher. That's going to be Thaddeus Marshall. Alrighty, we're now joined with our 3rd place finisher. That's going to be the number 4 of Thaddeus Marshall. Thad, this is Dylan Broadcast. Really got a copy.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. We talked to you earlier in the pre-race interview, and you had a different strategy, and I figured out what that strategy was. Drop to the back, save your tires, stay out of all the chaos, and for the most part, it worked. Just came out of pit road, had fresher tires, a little bit more grip than probably what you remember onto that number 4 machine. Got a little bit too close to that apron and sent it up to the outside wall. Luckily, that caution came out and kept it back in the loop. But, man, what an absolute phenomenal race to the finish there towards the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, this one hurts quite a bit. And, just to come up spot short, and I should have taken less fuel. I came out right behind Carl, and there for the most part, I was beating the back bumper off his car. And I thought I could push him up the track just enough, but he kept slowing down and killing my momentum in the corners, and finally I got tired of it and tried to send it in 1 to 2, and I don't know if he just pinched me down on the apron, got the car sideways, and ended up third.
Yeah, wow, I can't even talk. Marvelous driving, keeping it straight and not, overcorrecting and, taking yourself out of the race completely. Obviously, it does sting, being so close, but yeah, so far away, you could almost have it in your hands. Yeah, it just looked like, hard racing, just, 2 racers met right smack dab in the middle. A little bit of tightness going on both sides of the cars, but nonetheless, a nice, strong, solid P2 in the championship, but P2 or P3 in the race. That's just going to gear you up for next season number 11, get you up here and try to get you that championship.
Yeah, it's a good way to go into season 11, but it's going to sting for a while. I felt at the end I had the better car, and just nowhere to pass. I tried the extreme high side, and it wasn't there. It was just really just a 1-lane train around. And yeah, I could have sent Carl into the corner harder, but, I don't want that repercussions of him wrecking and me getting put to the rear.
Exactly. I mean, this is the way that everybody ends up looking at it. So either way, you still kept it clean. You come home P number 3. But Thad, before we let you get on out of here, is there anybody in that number 4 machine you'd like to give a shout out to for the final time here for season number 10?
I got to give a shout out to D1RT Racing and ML Performance on the car tonight, and you for broadcasting tonight, and Core for putting on the league, and pretty much a clean race tonight. I wish a little bit more people would have come out, but otherwise it was a good race.
All right, Thad, we're going to go ahead and let you get on out of here, celebrate that P3, and we'll be seeing you again next season.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's going to be our 3rd place finisher. We're going to go ahead and grab our 2nd place finisher here. That's going to be the number 15 of Brandon Metler. Grab him really quick, and there he is. Brandon! This is Dylan in the CRN broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right, buddy. You started at the front. Quickly found out that, okay, moved to the back there momentarily. You found the outside wall a couple times, too. Not sure if that was the plan for you to find the outside wall, but either way, ended up working out for you. And then we seen the late race pit stops from you, and you were able to drive all the way back from 8th or 9th all the way to P number 2 and almost come away with that race victory.
Yeah, I think the first half of the race here was just trying to figure out what the limits was, especially towards the very beginning. I mean, you probably noticed I was taking a low line for a lot of the first 10 to 15 laps or so, and trying to figure out what the limits were and what speed was and all that kind of stuff, and figured out pretty quickly there's no speed down there in this setup with the iRacing setup and stuff. So figured it'd be a 1-lane track and tried pushing as hard as I could to get track position, warm the tires up a little bit too much. Twice actually in 2 different scenarios, and ended up screwing myself for track position, but that's okay. I thought everybody pitted way too early at the very, very last stint there, because I knew we were going to have like 35 laps left when we got tires, and everybody was pitting with 45 to go, and I said I'm going to be in a pretty sweet spot, pit as late as I could and use those tires to my advantage and just keep it a little bit short. I think if I had a better track position on the stream strategy, it would have been different.
Yeah, I do believe so, too, because, I mean, you caught Thad and you caught Carl pretty quickly once you got around all the other traffic towards the back. And then obviously Carl and Thad getting together there right towards the end, that kind of helped you catapult yourself up to P number 2. I think maybe if you had probably 5 more laps, you could have seen that number 15 in victory lane.
Yeah, close. I know Thad probably knew that he had one chance to make it happen, and I think turn 2, in my opinion, is the place to make it happen. I think he just kind of slightly missed on it, and he had the advantage and tried to take advantage of it when he could. Because I saw he was trying to get momentum coming around 3 and 4 the lap before, take the top side to get his speed, and I think he just went forward and just missed the mark a little bit. But can't blame him. I think I would probably done the same thing. And yeah, it's a tough one, especially this car and track combo with the iRacing setup is not built for 120 laps, but it still works.
Yeah, definitely still going to be able to work. But Brandon, before we let you get on out of here, is there anybody on that number 15 machine you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank Bam Racing Videos, YouTube, and Facebook. Haven't been too active this past year with some car troubles, but been able to focus on my personal career for videography, working for some different companies there. But we'll have some pretty good stuff next year when we have winter to prepare for everything. I got to thank Five Kings Motorsports and all the sponsors over there. EPI, the Butt Kicker, MF Racing Designs, all of this crew. Got to thank you two. That haven't broadcasted all year. I know it's just you here right now, but thank you guys for giving us a broadcast to go back and learn from our mistakes and see where we can get better. And obviously for Carl and Kevin, all the admins for putting this thing on.
All right, brother, we're going to go ahead and let you get on out of here. Celebrate that P2 victory here tonight, and we'll be seeing you again next season.
Appreciate it.
All right, this is going to be our second place finisher here tonight. And now, the moment that we've been waiting for. We finally get to talk to him one more time for the end of the season. That's going to be the number 18 of Carl Hadwick. Carl, still in the broadcast with a copy.
Yes, sir.
Finally, monkey off your back. You had Barry in your corner. You had pretty much everybody in your corner, and you finally got it done. The drive for 5 is complete.
Man, this was not easy. I mean, not easy getting back to this point. You know, year in and year out. It's the competition gets tougher and tougher in here, and this year was probably the pinnacle. I mean, we probably had all 5 drivers that were going for it this season had a chance at the championship. I mean, you look at Chris Hamilton, multi-time champion here in the series, and didn't even make the final 5. Granted, that was mostly because of him missing the one playoff race, but like even still, I mean, it's crazy. It was tough this year just to make it into the championship, but I mean, this race, good God, this was probably my most fun combo. The one that I kind of look forward to the most out of all the championships that we probably had so far, because I really like the Tour mods, and I thought it put on a pretty good race here, and from inside the car, I think it damn well did, but I mean, what was the biggest lead that I had? Like 0.8 seconds? I mean, you could not get away, and it was just, it was so frustrating. But man, it was tough, but we got it done, man.
Yeah, you express how much of a lead you could get. The only time that you could really get the lead is if you pit and you beat the guy out that you were going into pit road with, and then obviously guys that ended up pitting later down the road would end up catching you, or miss your braking point or throttle off point going into a corner, and then you lose all that time there. But let's talk about the end of the race there. Thad Marshall setting up was going to be one of the better passes to be made, especially, it's the iRacing set, it's the Tour mod, they both run the exact same speed, so it's kind of hard to eye up a run. But you seen Thad go to the outside trying to eye up a run on you. He shot it down like a cannon down to your inside. You seen it coming, a little bit of a tight pinch move there. He just kind of slid up just a little bit, got to your right rear or your left rear, got on the apron as well, got him a little bit loose, and that kind of just pretty much sealed the deal for you there.
Yeah, I mean, the awesome thing about the track and the combo tonight was there was about 75 different ways that you could take both of these corners. I mean, you could run the high line, you could go top to bottom, you can go bottom to top, you can go bottom around the whole thing. It was just 100 different ways you could run around these corners. But that made it tough for defending, because if you defend the main line, you're going to have somebody that's going to get that draft, going a little bit deeper and then try and cut down and get that run. That's what he's seeing. But I could tell just from the couple bumps that I got from behind that he was just kind of waiting and biding his time. And I knew he was probably going to come around, 5 to go or less was when he was going to make his move. But that was, yeah, it was a late move by him, and I was already committed to going down to the bottom, and I think he just got to my inside right before I got to the back there, and he probably touched the bumper bar in the back, and that's what got me just a smidge loose. But I think what got him extra loose was definitely the apron, and as soon as I seen that, I just hammered down. My foot was to the floor, and I tried to get out of there as quick as possible. And I seen Metler was coming up there, and as soon as I seen that, I'm like, all right, Metler, get up in there, get up in the mix, get this into a race here. And I said to Metler, I'm like, listen, more than willing to give you this win if you got up there and got up to me. I didn't care if I got the win here or not. It was championship or bust here for me tonight. So I just heck of a run. I mean, I think I dealt with just about every one of the 5 playoff drivers. Obviously Thad for a bunch at the end. I had Tilford and Parkhurst up my bumper bar the first half of the race. Man, this was not easy at all. So I had to work for this.
Oh yeah, definitely had to work for it. It paid off right there at the end where you needed it. You've seen a lot of draft. You've seen a lot of drivers that you don't really get to talk to or see a lot towards the front. Joe Sullivan led a couple laps. He was up towards the front there late in the race, had a little bit of late race complications there, but got that car fixed. Ended up finishing later back in the finishing order, but nonetheless, still a great championship night. Can't wait to see what season 11 has. And what does that mean for Carl Handwerk come next season? Is it drive for 6?
I mean, it all depends on the car count. I love the series. I love the variety of it. I love the guys that run it. It's a fun group of guys here, and I'm going to be involved one way or another, regardless. I mean, if we can get a ton of guys in here, and it makes more sense for me to step out and kind of be the eye in the sky and make sure that this awesome series keeps running, then that's what I got to do. I'm at this point, I'm looking out for the betterment of the league and how to keep this thing going. But I'm sure these guys will not let me. Yeah. I mean, I've said it numerous times now. I'm gonna step aside. I'm gonna admit, no, you're not. No, you're not. All right. So, as much as I say, I wanted 5, and then I'll step aside. We'll see what next season brings. And I guess I got to see what everybody else puts out there for the combos. It's certainly going to be interesting, and there'll be some caveats that it can't be anything too crazy, because obviously we want to try and grab drivers and not scare them away. But I mean, this season ended a blast. We tried to keep it to close to the real life events, and there weren't really too many crazy combinations, and I think it paid off and showed a lot of just really good racing, and that's really what we want. I mean, I try and look for the combos that are maybe a little bit slower cars on the bigger tracks for a reason, to try and keep everybody in the mix and keep those guys that are used to being mid-pack or maybe backpack guys have a chance at a win. And I don't want it to just be 1 or 2 people dominating the series. And we had a bunch of different winners the last couple of years and a bunch of different winners this season. So yeah, already looking forward to next season. It'll be nice to take a little bit of a break here, but we've got plenty of racing coming up. I mean, we got All-Star race next week. We got the Drivers' Cup. We got the King of Core playoffs. That's a first ever for us coming up here in a few Sundays. So that's the next site that I have on the horizon here that I'm going to be looking forward to.
Yeah, can't wait to see whatever happens in the future. Can't wait for the All-Star race. Can't wait for the Drivers' Cup. That was actually pretty fun last season. Drivers' Cup was actually a lot of fun, even though I ran out of gas and, stepped on my you-know-what. But, hey, it was still fun. Street Stocks, Kansas. It was a lot of fun. But, Carl, before we let you get on out of here, is there anybody on that number 18 you'd like to give a special shout-out to for the last season of Core Premier Series, season number 10?
Yeah, I mean, same shout-outs that I always give. We can't do this without the guys out there on the track, so thank you to everybody that came out here tonight. Made this thing happen. We had 11 of us out there tonight. Would love to have 15 plus or even 20 plus, but we still put on I think a heck of a show with the car count that we had, and that's all a tribute to the quality drivers that we have out here. So thank everybody for that. Thank you to my spotter, Eric Andrews. This is the second time I've had him spot for me in a championship deciding race, and he did it for me in another series probably about a year and a half ago, and We are 2 for 2. So I told him from now on I'm locking him in. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care what his wife says. He's getting locked in. If I need a championship run, he's my boy. But no, it was awesome. It was fun. And thanks to you for putting on the broadcast for these guys every week. As long as you wake up in time. We just got to get you out there on Thursdays. Got to set your alarm right now for Thursday to get you out there. But no, it's a blast, and I hope we can fill up all 50 of those raffle ticket spots to help pay for the broadcasting and the prize fund and everything like that for next season, because season 11 is only about a month and a half away.
All righty, buddy. We're going to go ahead and let you get on ahead and celebrate that championship victory here tonight, and we'll be talking to you again here shortly in the next week.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, that's going to do it for our championship winner here tonight. That's going to be Carl Hedwerk in the number 18, getting the championship and the win here tonight. Man, what an absolute blast of a race. Others may have said, you know what, it's kind of boring, single file, one-lane track, this and that, but it created a lot of great racing. That's going to do it for myself up here in the broadcast booth. Make sure you guys tune in Tuesday night as we have, I believe, Smoky Mountain Dirt Track Racing has their, looking at it here. Let me find it really quick. I believe they have one more race coming up. And it's going to be the late model at Lucas Oil. So make sure you guys tune into that this coming Tuesday. Late model, Lucas Oil on a Tuesday night with myself in the broadcast booth. And then you'll have another broadcast with John Obinger and possibly myself or Brandon Polt in the broadcast booth for the Core Xfinity Series. You don't want to miss that on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, no broadcast from CRN as of right now. And then, yes, we're back this Wednesday with Lucky Dog in the Tour Mods. Lucky Dog going to take the Tour Mods to the track this season. They went from the late model stock, or the super late model, to the late model stock. Now they're on to the the Tour Mods. You don't want to miss that. I'll be in the broadcast booth on Wednesday nights. Thursdays, I may be in the broadcast booth. I know the Thursday night league that Lucky Dog also has is a truck league. I'm supposed to make my start on that on Thursday night, November the 30th. So I might have to talk with Carl, see what he wants me to do with that one. I thought maybe the GT season was going to be over by the time that I got in the car for another league, but I was mistaken. Friday, no broadcast on Saturday, and then we're back here on Sunday. Got to talk to Carl again to make sure and see if we have a broadcast set up for the All-Star race in Driver Cup proportion of the week. But that's going to do it for myself in the broadcast booth. My name is Dylan for CRN. If you guys have a league that you guys want to have showcased, or if you guys are looking for a broadcaster, make sure you guys follow us on YouTube or Facebook. You can find us on Facebook at Core Racing Network -CRN. Send us a message. See what you guys have. If we have the open availability, CRN could be your next adventure to making your league races great again. But that's going to do it for myself here in the broadcast booth for CRN. Make sure you guys take care. Brush your hair.